Mexico City is not just the capital of Mexico. It is one of the most important cities in the Western Hemisphere, a political center, a cultural powerhouse, a financial hub, and a metropolis with a population larger than many countries. Today, the city proper is home to more than 9 million people, while the wider urban area known as Greater Mexico City has more than 21 million residents. That makes it one of the largest metropolitan areas on Earth, and one of the biggest urban agglomerations in the Americas. But what makes Mexico City especially unusual is that its modern scale is layered on top of an even older story. Beneath the avenues, government buildings, subway lines, and neighborhoods is the memory of Tenochtitlan, an indigenous capital built on islands in a lake. Geographically, Mexico City sits in the Valley of Mexico, a high basin on the Mexican Central Plateau. Its altitude is about 2,240 meters, or 7,350 feet, above sea level. That elevation shapes almost everything about the city: the climate, the way visitors feel when they arrive, and even the challenges of urban planning. Unlike coastal megacities that spread along ports and sea routes, Mexico City grew in a mountain-ringed basin. Historically, this basin contained lakes, including Lake Texcoco, which played a central role in the birth of the city. The result is a capital that feels both immense and enclosed, a place where geography has always placed limits on expansion while also making the valley a natural center of power. The city is divided administratively into 16 boroughs, known in Spanish as alcaldías. These boroughs are further divided into neighborhoods, or colonias, each with its own identity. This structure matters because Mexico City is too large and varied to understand as a single uniform place. Some areas are dense financial districts filled with offices, embassies, and luxury apartments. Others are historic neighborhoods with colonial streets, markets, plazas, and churches. Still others are working-class districts, residential zones, university areas, and rapidly changing urban corridors. The borough system reflects the city's complexity. It is one capital, but also a collection of many local worlds, each contributing to the broader identity of CDMX. Mexico City's size is not only demographic, it is economic. The city is classified as an Alpha World City by the Globalization and World Cities Research Network, a category used for cities that are deeply connected to the global economy. In practical terms, this means Mexico City is a major node for finance, corporate headquarters, media, culture, tourism, and government decision-making. In 2011, Greater Mexico City had a gross domestic product estimated at $411 billion, placing it among the world's most productive urban areas. The city alone accounted for a major share of Mexico's GDP, while the wider metropolitan region represented an even larger portion. If Mexico City had been an independent country in 2013, its economy would have ranked among the largest in Latin America. To understand why Mexico City became so central, you have to go back to its origin as Tenochtitlan. Around 1325, the Mexica founded their city on islands in Lake Texcoco. This was not a minor settlement on the edge of history. Tenochtitlan became the capital of a powerful empire and one of the great urban achievements of the pre-Columbian Americas. It was connected by causeways, supplied by aqueducts, and organized around ceremonial and political spaces. Building a city in a lake was both practical and symbolic. The water helped defend it, connect it, and sustain it. Long before European conquest, the site already had the political gravity that would later make it the center of colonial New Spain and modern Mexico. In 1521, after the siege of Tenochtitlan, the city was nearly destroyed. The Spanish then rebuilt it according to European urban standards, imposing a new colonial order over the remains of the Mexica capital. This was not simply a change in architecture, it was a transformation of political power, religious life, land use, and social hierarchy. The new city became a center of Spanish rule in the Americas, but it did so while standing directly on the foundations of the city it had conquered. That layering is one of Mexico City's defining features. Its colonial plazas, churches, and government buildings were not built in an empty space. They were constructed on a site already charged with indigenous history and meaning. In 1524, the municipality of Mexico City was formally established under the name Mexico Tenochtitlan. By 1585, it was officially known as Ciudad de Mexico. During the Spanish colonial period, the city became the administrative, political, and financial center of New Spain. Decisions made there affected vast territories across North America, Central America, the Caribbean, and beyond. The city was home to institutions of colonial government, religious authority, commerce, and elite culture. This long colonial period helped cement Mexico City's role as a capital not only in name, but in function. It became the place where wealth, bureaucracy, and influence concentrated, a pattern that continued after independence. After Mexico achieved independence, the political status of the capital had to be redefined. In 1824, the territory surrounding the city was organized as the country's federal district, known as the Distrito Federal, or DF. The idea was similar to other national capitals. The seat of federal power would be set apart from the states. This arrangement gave the capital a special status, but it also created long-term tensions. Residents lived in the country's most important city, yet for much of modern history they had less local political autonomy than citizens in the states. The city was powerful, but its own residents had limited control over its government. That began to change in the late 20th century. After years of demands for greater political autonomy, residents won the right in 1997 to elect both the head of government and members of a unicameral legislative assembly. This was a major democratic shift. For the first time, the people of the capital had direct control over offices that shaped local policy. Since then, left-wing parties have dominated city politics, first the Party of the Democratic Revolution and later Morena. This political continuity has made Mexico City distinct from many other parts of the country, especially because the city government has often pursued progressive social policies before they became national norms. Mexico City has become known for adopting progressive policies, including legal abortion, no-fault divorce, same-sex marriage, legal gender change, and a limited form of euthanasia. These policies reflect the city's role as a laboratory for social reform in Mexico. Because the capital is highly visible and politically influential, changes made there often shape national debates. Supporters see the city as a model of rights-based governance and urban modernity. Critics sometimes view it as politically separate from more conservative regions. Either way, Mexico City's legal and political choices show that it is not only the administrative heart of the country, but also a place where ideas about citizenship, rights, and identity are actively contested. On January 29, 2016, the federal district was officially renamed Ciudad de Mexico, or CDMX. This was more than a branding change. The reform granted the city greater autonomy and altered parts of its government and political structure. The name CDMX has since become a widely recognized symbol, appearing on signs, tourism campaigns, official documents, and everyday speech. Yet the city still occupies a unique constitutional position. A clause prevents it from becoming a full state as long as it remains the capital of Mexico. So CDMX is neither simply a state nor merely the old federal district. It is a special political entity, reflecting its unusual role in national life. Mexico City's story is ultimately a story of continuity and reinvention. It is an indigenous capital. Transformed by conquest, a colonial seat of empire turned national capital, a federal district reshaped into an autonomous city, and a high-altitude megacity that continues to influence the economy and culture of an entire country. Its streets contain ruins, cathedrals, government palaces, financial towers, markets, universities, museums, and neighborhoods that seem to belong to different centuries at once. That is why Mexico City cannot be understood only through population numbers or rankings. Its importance comes from the way history, geography, politics, and culture have converged in one place for nearly 700 years. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.